Have you ever stopped to think about the silent impact that a dog has on our lives? Without saying a word, he understands when you're sad. Without asking for anything in return, he waits for you at the door with his whole heart. It is in the silence of the most difficult moments that he appears. With a gaze that welcomes, with a presence that heals. In this video, we're going to talk about the transformative power of a dog. How this four-legged companion is able to change our world. Not with words, but with loyalty, affection, and a sensitivity that few humans have. Before you start, leave it here in the comments. What is your dog's name? And how much did it change your life? If you feel that this love cannot be explained, you only feel, then this video is for you. Now take a deep breath and let your heart be touched by this story that, deep down, is also yours. Studies show that dogs are able to pick up emotional changes in their owners through smell. That's right. Our emotions release chemicals that change our natural aroma, and the dog's sense of smell is so keen that it notices these changes easily. But the most impressive thing is that he doesn't just feel it. He acts. He responds with presence, affection, and care. When we are anxious, for example, our body emits chemical signals that they identify almost instantly. And, as if in a reflex of empathy, the dog approaches, leans its head against us, or lies nearby, offering a type of consolation that human words often cannot give. They don't rationalize. They don't ask what has happened, they just feel and react with love. This emotional response is what makes living with a dog so special. It takes care of you in the purest and quietest way possible. And this perception does not only happen with negative emotions. When we are happy, when we really smile, our body also changes. And they feel it. The energy of the environment is transformed. And the dog vibrates with this joy. He jumps, runs, wags his tail as if he were celebrating together. And indeed it is, because it connects not only to your smell, but to what that smell represents. A heart that is light, a soul that is smiling. This harmony is real, and it is the kind of love that only an animal like this can offer. The most beautiful thing is that they do all this without expecting anything in return. The dog feels your pain and tries to calm you down, feels your joy and celebrates with you. It molds itself to your emotional state with a quiet wisdom. This shows how much they live in a whole and present way. They are not distracted by the past or anxious about the future. You are here now, available, attentive to every beat of your heart, even when you yourself do not realize what you are feeling. Have you ever had the feeling that your dog understands everything you feel? Even without speaking, even without clear gestures, he simply knows. When you're at peace, it relaxes. When you're sad, he comes closer. And when anxiety takes over, it's as if he absorbs part of that restlessness just to see you better. The connection between dogs and humans is much deeper than it seems. It is a silent but love-filled exchange of energy. Over the years, researchers have dedicated themselves to understanding what is behind this very sensitive behavior of dogs. Was it instinct? Would it be training? Or is there something greater, something invisible, that binds their hearts to ours? Science is beginning to bow to what owners have known for a long time. Dogs feel. They feel what is going on inside us. They perceive with delicacy even what we are trying to hide. Our emotions release chemicals that change our natural aroma, and the dog's sense of smell is so keen that it notices these changes easily. But the most impressive thing is that he doesn't just feel it. He acts. He responds with presence, affection, and care, as if his body knows exactly what our heart needs. He approaches slowly, without invading, just offering company. And in that simple gesture, there is a love that welcomes without having to say anything. This answer is not a fluke. It is a reflection of a deep connection built over time. When we are sad or anxious, the smell of our body changes. The rhythm of our breathing changes, and our movements become more tense. The dog captures all this as if he were listening to an invisible melody that only he understands. And he transforms this perception into a gesture, a touch with his snout, a fixed and sweet gaze, a lie next to him as if to say, "I am with you no matter what." This silent care is one of the purest forms of empathy. The dog does not need to understand the source of sadness to care. He doesn't need explanations to give himself up. He simply feels and offers what he has: love, presence, warmth. And interestingly, this answer also calms us down, because when we are seen without judgment, when we are felt without words, something inside us finds rest. And that's when we understand that sometimes all it takes is someone on our side, someone who feels what the soul screams in silence. But what goes beyond science is what happens on a daily basis. That silent lick when the tear flows, that discreet presence by your side, even without you asking. The dog does not judge, does not ask questions, does not demand explanations. He just stays. And in this serene permanence, he communicates something that goes beyond reason. You are not alone. I'm here. Dogs seem to read environments in a unique way. Have you noticed how they get bothered in very crowded places? Or how do they lie down in quieter places in the house, even though they have never been there before? Many experts believe that dogs pick up on the vibrations of space, people's intentions, and even the tensions that hang in the air. They feel it first and react later. The vibration of a house changes when there is harmony, just as it changes when there is sadness, fights, or fear. And the ones who usually notice this first are the dogs. They move away, withdraw, or stay alert, not out of fear, but out of perception. What we feel, even when we don't speak, is recorded by them in a pure and silent way. It's as if they were made to take care of our energy, and it's not just the emotional energy they feel. There are records of dogs detecting impending health crises, such as seizures or drops in blood pressure, before they happen. Some are trained to do so, but many simply demonstrate this behavior naturally. They feel, anticipate, and act with instinct and love. It's further proof that the body's energy speaks, and they listen. With attentive eyes, sensitive ears, and a heart always willing, dogs seem to hear what the body has not even had time to express. True stories show dogs that start barking, pulling the owner to safety, or behaving insistently moments before a serious health episode. In many of these cases, it was precisely this reaction that saved lives. There is no simple explanation. Science tries to understand how they pick up these subtle changes, whether by smell, behavior, or some signal that we have not yet been able to identify precisely. But for those who live this experience, the explanation is only one. They feel it with their soul. This kind of sensitivity goes beyond instinct. It's care in its purest form. It's as if the dog said, "I'm here for you. Before anything even happens, I'm already protecting you." This loving attitude shows us how much these beings are connected to our well-being. They don't wait for commands. They don't ask for recognition. They only act, moved by a silent connection that goes beyond understanding. It is a connection that heals, prevents, welcomes, and transforms, made up of love, loyalty, and an intuition that can only come from the heart. And the most incredible thing is that even without words, they teach us to trust more in what we feel. They invite us to listen better to our own body, to perceive internal signals more attentively. Because many times, What the dog detects in us has been asking for care for a long time, and only when it reacts do we stop to listen. That's a powerful reminder. There's an invisible wisdom in and around us, and dogs are always attentive to it, ready to remind us to take care of what is not seen, but which is essential. But perhaps the most beautiful thing is the surrender. The dog surrenders entirely to the presence of the other. He doesn't mince words. He doesn't expect perfection. He doesn't walk away on bad days. On the contrary, it is on these days that it comes closer. He feels that something has changed and does everything to be a point of balance, an emotional anchor, a support that does not need to be understood to be felt. On mornings when we wake up more anxious, dogs are more attentive. On nights when fear strikes, they lie closer. It's not a coincidence. It is a behavior guided by sensations, by invisible perceptions, by a fine and sincere emotional reading. They mold themselves to our frequency. They adapt their gestures to our inner state. They are literally living mirrors of our energy. And this sensitivity is not born out of nowhere. It comes from coexistence, from the bond built day after day. The more connected we are with our dogs, the more they can read our signals. Their hearts learn the rhythm of ours. And in silence, he aligns himself. This connection cannot be bought. It is born of affection, trust, routine shared with love. Science is still looking for rational explanations for this phenomenon. But perhaps not everything needs proof. Perhaps some things exist only to be lived, felt, recognized in the silence of a look. Science explains smell, keen hearing, instinctive, behavior. But love, the love that overflows from the presence of a dog, this one is not measured. Sit down. Dogs are masters of presence. While we're too busy with thoughts, distractions, and worries, they live in the now. They are whole in the present moment. And maybe that's why they can understand what escapes our eyes. Because for them, what matters is here. It's now. That's what the heart is saying right now. As we try to solve tomorrow and relive yesterday, dogs teach us that true life is in the present moment. They do not cling to what has passed, nor do they anguish over what has not yet arrived. When they are with you, they are whole. Your eyes say, "I'm here," and this is where the real connection happens. They don't need promises or plans. They just need your true presence. And in return, they offer the purest form of love. That's why, in the moments of silence, when everything seems to stand still outside, they continue to teach us something essential. The simple act of lying next to us, breathing together, reminding us to slow down. It's a way to reconnect with what really matters. It is as if they were gentle guides, leading our soul back to the now, where peace dwells, where everything makes the most sense, and when we are present with them, we feel something rare, a kind of calm that cannot be bought, only lived. Perhaps that's why dogs understand so much of what we feel. Because they're not distracted, they listen to the silence of our body, the rhythm of our breathing, the restlessness of our thoughts. Even without understanding the reason, they understand the effect. And they act as a mirror, showing us that now is enough. That being together is more important than having answers. And that, if we learn to live like them, maybe life will become lighter, simpler, more true. They're not interested in socials, masks. They are not confused with forced smiles. They feel the truth behind the words. Therefore, when we are well, they are calm. When we are bad, they change. This response is natural, instinctive, honest. And it should inspire us to be more true too, with ourselves and with those we love. In many homes, dogs are the emotional balance point of the family. They are there when everyone retires. They stand firm when no one knows what to say. They don't solve problems, but they lighten the weight of them. With their serene energy, their loving attention, Their quiet surrender, they transform the environment, and they transform us too. The most beautiful thing of all is that they don't do it out of obligation. They don't expect applause. They do it because they love it, because they do, because they were born with this gift of welcoming without words. And that makes them one of the most healing presences anyone can have in life. A dog is not just a pet, it's a piece of pure love walking around the house. Maybe that's why so many people feel such emptiness when they lose a dog, because what is left is not just a companion. It is a living presence, an invisible guardian of emotions, an energy sensor that becomes part of us. Physical absence hurts, but the energy it leaves remains. It stays in the air, in the heart, in the memory. Taking care of a dog is more than feeding and taking it for a walk. It is to offer a safe space, an environment with good energy, a routine of affection. They perceive everything. They feel the rush, the stress, the hustle and bustle of the house. And all of this affects them. Therefore, cultivating peace is also an act of love for them. Taking care of our energy is taking care of theirs. When we understand how much they feel, we start to look at our dogs with even more respect. We started to speak more tenderly, to touch with more presence, to thank for every gesture, every look, every silence shared. Life next to them is more sensitive, more true, more human. They invite us to be better every day. And before we say goodbye, I wanted to make you a very special invitation, as if talking from heart to heart. If you've ever experienced an unforgettable moment with your dog, whether it's love, healing, or simple silent presence, share it with us in the comments. His story can warm other hearts here too. And if this video touched you in any way, write down there, "I love dogs." This phrase, so simple and sincere, is a beautiful way to spread faith, affection, and recognition for these loyal companions. Oh, and if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take advantage of this moment and click to subscribe. Activate the bell too, so you don't miss any of our next videos, all made with a lot of love for you and your four-legged friend. And if you know someone who's in need of a word of hope, share that message with them. Sometimes, a video like this can be the hug she so badly needed. We continue together with love, empathy, and this presence that only those who love animals truly understand. See you next time.